All right, we're rolling, Chris. Thanks for being here, man.
Heck yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Dude, I like some of the stuff you're wearing. First, the Freemasonry pin.
Heck yeah.
On top of that, does that mean anything? You just like it?
Heck yeah. I've been studying them for a long time since I was a kid, so
yeah,
it's a very interesting group to be a part of.
Yeah,
so.
man. Well, one thing a lot of people don't know, first about me, is that I actually became a Mason a while ago.
Oh, for real?
It's been a long time ago.
Heck
what I mean? Yeah. Like, I started when I was 18. I think you have to be 18. But it was a little lodge in southeast Iowa. And my uncle, so typically, at least when I started, typically you had to know a Mason to like be a Mason, right?
Right.
So what like intrigued you about them to start off?
Just like originally when I started off was the conspiracy theories.
Oh,
but
yeah,
then,
dude. There's a lot, man.
For real. But then to see how much of a crucial role they've had in buildings from different civilizations and eras of times, and how they've been politically involved in a lot of things. So it's just interesting to research, and
yeah, dude,
it's very
like
educational one way or another.
It is, man. I think a lot of people would benefit from just at least reading about it. You know what I mean?
For real,
dude.
They definitely have a pretty big part of American history. You know? So it's like
a lot of people don't realize that.
For real,
they really do. Dude, it's crazy. But so tell me a little bit about what you do.
Heck yeah. So basically, I started off as, I would say, an entrepreneur or CEO. I basically always believed in working, for myself and not for someone else. My parents had their own cleaning company, and they also had a spiritual botanica, and always were, business minded, and so I eventually opened up. Me and my wife moved out to Utah about 6 years ago from Florida. A lot of people are like, "Why'd you do that?"
Cool. Yeah, yeah, for real.
Because it was a low cost of living, high pay rate at the time, so we could live better for our money, and things were a lot cheaper business-wise, getting licenses and signs and everything from gas to milk. So we came out here with nothing, really, no connections. Just my brother-in-law moved out here and loved it, enjoyed it, so we came out and visited for 2 weeks, and we really liked it, and so we moved out, and I started doing temp jobs, and then got my own cleaning company going, because that's what I did with my family back in Florida for almost my whole life, probably a good like 10-15 years or something. So I started doing that, and then my wife and my mother-in-law opened up a wig store, which then turned into like a restaurant, which we now have Irie Coffee, Teas, and Bobas, or Irie's Place for short, in West Jordan.
Oh, cool.
We have our own restaurant where we have over 75 different kinds of coffee and tea from around the world, and over, I think now, 300 or 200 boba flavors. And we have food occasionally during the season. We're family owned, so we don't have a lot of employees yet, so we can't, do a lot of food.
Yeah. But that's crazy. So what's it? So Irie's
Place for
Irie's
short.
Place.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sweet.
Yeah, we were voted second best coffee shop in the state of Utah in KSL Voters' Choice last year. And we beat out everyone except Starbucks. So
no kidding.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. We beat out Starbucks. We beat out everyone except Beans and Brews.
Beans and Brews, that's a big one, man.
For real. And I think they started out here in Utah, from what I understand.
Yeah,
so.
I think they did. And they're big, but that's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah.
What kind of work did it take to get there? How did you? What was the process of becoming like the second best?
It was pretty. It was just, following our dreams. It was pretty rough for a while, I mean, a lot of times we didn't know if we were going to pay the bills the next month, and especially during the holidays, and when it gets cold and snowing and everything, it's like, is business going to slow down? But it was just like anything. We just, kept at it, kept advertising, doing a lot of events, doing a lot of charity events. We've been blessed to be involved with Operation Underground Railroad for the past 3 years. We were the official drink sponsor at their golf scramble, and helped be a part of raising $75,000 a year for that.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
For real. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing what they're doing. And I actually got to meet Timothy Ballard a couple times, and me and my wife have our own production company. GME Productions, which is short for Grill and Mafia Entertainment LLC. And so do a lot of journalists out. We started that about 13 years ago as like a music production company.
Cool.
So then we started getting into like covering events and doing news articles and stuff like that. So we also use like the restaurant as a vehicle to like have events and interview people and do listening parties for music artists out here, because there's a lot of talent out here and a lot of
there is a lot of talent out here for in like almost every genre, like rap,
every
country,
genre, EDM, everyone out here is awesome,
and that's one thing that really surprised me when we started getting into like the interviewing process, and we find people to interview, like U92 has a lot of good local talent out here for like rappers, and then obviously like EDM, and that's just like DJs. They're big out here, man.
For real. I got a couple of friends that throw events out here. Shout out to Dub Sim, and he does the Keys contest, and then Matt Milliner does a big music festival called Incandescent. And it's just like, I love going to these events and being around all these different artists and different genres of music, and just interviewing them and helping them get their word out, or if they want to, be with our production company and we help promote them or help them mix and master and produce music or whatever. It's just like kidding. We got, all this stuff going on. So I just love being a part of the community.
So, and you said you been an entrepreneur forever.
Yeah.
Man, that's nuts.
Heck yeah.
And your two main things are the production company and the restaurant.
Yes, sir.
And that's, where did you come up with the idea for the restaurant?
So we came out here and we had the wig shop, and then we started selling snacks like munchies. We called it munchies, like on the side, because we were right across from a smoke shop, Smoke City.
Oh, right on. Yeah, right on, man.
Yeah, and so their crowd, they're usually hungry. So we thought, sell some food, and then my wife has been so well traveled because she was a military brat, and her father was a photographer for the Bush family, and so she ended up going to high school in like Japan and traveling around a couple different places. So
no kidding.
Yeah, she was good at making Bobas and all kinds of other food. And so we're not, some people think we're a Jamaican restaurant, but we're a Caribbean restaurant. We have Caribbean food, so, and we have Caribbean drinks, and we have coffee from the Caribbean. We have it from Hawaii, Florida, almost anywhere, like that's 85 different kinds. So
that's nuts. Where's the best coffee from?
My favorite is the Jamaican Blue, because most people only drink it when they're in Jamaica, where it's grown on the farm, because it's only, in a specific part of the world.
Right.
That's one of my favorites.
That's crazy. So what happened to the wig store?
Went online.
It did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a pretty big market out there? I mean, online it's probably bigger, but when it was like here, was it pretty big?
Yeah. And plus my mother-in-law
awesome.
caters to cancer patients, so a lot of them can usually get that on their insurance and covered. So
that's cool. Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that it would be covered and things like that.
Yeah.
So now she just does it online. Is it easier process to like get that stuff covered even though it's online?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Shout out to Wiggin and Weaving.
That's awesome, man. Holy cow. So your story started in Florida, and then you guys came to Utah. And I mean, what's been the biggest challenge for you starting a business here in Utah?
Really nothing.
Really? Right on.
Compared to Florida.
Yeah. Well,
it's so much cheaper and safer and easier and quicker and just really cheaper. I mean, you get so much more square footage, bigger signs. Your permits aren't as much and aren't as extensive. And
really, and in Florida, it's pretty, which is kind of weird to me, because Florida is it's
Florida, an international hub.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people would go there to start businesses, so it should be a little easier.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And their economy is all, touristy almost. Especially in like the in the Panhandle or like on the Tip or something like that, right by the Gulf or on the coast and stuff like that. I feel like that's what you do. You start a little business on the coast of Florida and rock and roll, dude.
For real.
But I have heard. I know for sure that's why Utah's growing so much, is because it's so easy to start a business here.
For real.
And it's just, people don't realize how easy it is. Were you surprised when you got here and you were like, dude, this is insane?
Yeah, like I was really surprised. I mean, we have our challenges like every business when you start up, you know, it's building that audience and the repeat customers and the customer satisfaction and the advertising and everything. But I mean, like I said, it was just cheaper and safer and just,
That's
you know,
crazy,
just it was really beautiful. Our first restaurant we had, it was 1,800 square feet, but it was 900 upstairs and 900 downstairs. And it was
cool.
And we utilized the upstairs, but we had the downstairs, like if we want to go down there and take a break or interview people or, you know, it had like 2 rooms and it had a shower and a kitchen. So it's kind of nice.
That's cool.
But then we doubled in size like 2 years later. And then we got a place that has 1,800 square feet upstairs. And we do a lot of events like Showcase Your Cosplay and Car Play, where we have local charities come. We know a lot of CEOs of charities that would like go to FanX and dress up as Superman and Wonder Woman. They go feed the homeless or go to the elderly homes during Christmas when people aren't visiting their family, and you know, give out food and gifts and stuff, and like help with clothes drives and school supplies and all kinds of stuff. So we do a lot of events. We got one coming up for Halloween, Trunk or Treat, and we're involved with the Ronald McDonald House, Kilts for Kids, you know, trying to raise funds for them through our restaurant. And then we're I think this is our 3rd or 4th year getting Toys for Tots. So
no kidding. How do people donate to this stuff?
They can just come to our restaurant, and if they bring a toy for Toys for Tots, I think we give them a free small bobo with that as well, any flavor. And then the Trunk or Treat is going to be this Halloween coming up, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. and it's just going to be a safe, fun place for kids to come and get some candy, and hopefully we'll have some cosplayers showed up and like some professional cosplay. I mean, these people look like they walked off a movie set, you know.
That's crazy.
They put a lot of time and effort into it, you know. So well,
how did you, I mean, you've been here for 6 years, which is about how long I've been here for. I'm from Iowa originally.
Yes, I was seeing that on your Facebook.
My wife and I are from Iowa, and so we did the same thing. We knew it was growing out here and stuff like that. But you've been here for a long time. I mean, how much networking did it take for you to build up these kind of connections?
Oh man, it's been amazing. That's a great question, because no one I think always asked me that yet. Because like that's what I'm known for, is like networking, and that's what I love to do. Like I brought some visuals because you know, we're recording this, so like, you know, some of my claim to fame is, you know, Aquaman, dude. King of Atlantis, Jackie Chan, on the cover of a London magazine.
That's pretty cool.
And then I was on the cover of a magazine with Kasky of Cash Money Records.
Can I see that?
Heck yeah.
Dude, that's sweet, man.
For real.
Yeah, look at that, dude.
And not only was I on the cover with all these amazing people, but I got to write articles about it, and I got to cover Princess Diana's dress and the United Nations when they came out here for 3 days. And
wow, man.
Yeah,
you shaved in this picture.
For real.
I like your beard though, dude.
Appreciate it. Yeah. It's wintertime out here now.
Dude, that weather was nuts, but that's crazy. Yeah, that's like super cool.
It's amazing the opportunities you have out here to network. Is like, and a lot of people ask me like, how do you do it? Because I wasn't born and raised out here, and how I do it is I'm not scared. I just do it. I like tell people, I'm like, I'm gonna go interview Jackie Chan and the CEO of Soul Central magazine at the time that I was being an ambassador for, and I would cover great events, and then I'd write articles, and I think I was on the cover like 5 times in the past 2 years, and it's a London publication that was in like 5 different other countries. And then because I got Jackie Chan, he opened up a section in Japan so everyone could see that. And I forget if it was Japan or China. I think it might have been both, but he opened up a whole nother market so he could put the magazine out there for, you know, that audience, which I thought was amazing. But he's like, I don't know, man, there's a lot of security. And I was like, I'm going to get him. And sure enough, you know, I got into the event with my, my networking skills. And then they asked, at a certain point, maybe about an hour or 2 into the event, does the press have any questions for Jackie Chan? And no one raised their hand. And I'm in the back of the room. And so I'm like running down the aisle as fast as I can. And I get down there, and Jackie Chan acts like he's going to throw me the microphone. And, and then someone gives me a microphone. And I was just like this. I was like, Chris Newhart, Soul Central magazine. This question's for Jackie Chan. What are you most excited for in the next 5 to 10 years? And he went off for like 5 minutes. they let like 2 more people ask a question, and then I asked his photographer, I was like, hey, can I get a picture with him? And he was like, sure. And it blew my mind, because like you couldn't even pay to get a picture with him. Like sometimes you could pay like $500 or $1,000, and like he might donate it to charity or whatever, but like you couldn't even pay at that event to get a picture with him. So when I was standing there next to him, I was like, wow, I can't believe it. Like, this is it.
That's crazy. So at the time you met Jackie Chan, you were an ambassador for the magazine?
Yeah. So that's like, cool, man. Yeah, I was reporting I was trying to raise funds for a charity that I was part of, Superwoman Productions, and I was reaching out to everyone. The CEO of the magazine was like, man, you're doing so much stuff. He's like, would you like to you and your wife come, write and cover stuff for our magazine? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so like, so like we'd cover a lot of stuff, like covered Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook. I told my friends, I was like, I'm gonna get a profile picture with Mark Zuckerberg and put it on my Facebook, and I did.
No kidding, man.
It's just like, I just don't have no fear. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, and you just gotta, when you're in that spot, you gotta play the part. Whatever it is, whatever you want to be. If you want to be, a doctor or a nurse or a journalist or a podcaster, you just gotta know and be confident. Like I had one person ask me one time, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this a while."
That's awesome, bro. So where do you think? I mean, because when we talk about networking, I think it always comes back to this idea of not being scared, right?
Yeah.
Of not being, of just being able to go up and talk to somebody, know what to say. And I think a lot of people miss that when you're talking with people, but you seem to like be really good at it.
Yeah, it's like you just gotta research your subject just like a little bit and find out what they're interested in, ask them questions. Like I love asking questions like, what do you love about what you do, or what's some advice you would give to people that are trying to follow in your footsteps? And then you just see their eyes light up, and they just
you get a lot of good response with that question.
Heck,
especially with some, well, I mean, with some of the famous people, I'm sure, but that one's a good one. What advice would you give? Because a lot of people think, I think it's fun for those people who get that question, and then I think it's kind of scary for the people who like are getting the answer to that question, right? Because like the answer's always so simple, it's always like work hard, or network, or don't be afraid, or just something. I mean, and so people, it's almost like a little anticlimactic, but it's always so true. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then sometimes just like a real jewel or gem comes out, something that's like a really, something that really came from their heart, that really, you never even thought of, and it's like, man, that was some good advice. Thanks for that, and it's like, and being in my position, it's great because I've got to talk to a lot of people in different positions, whether they were celebrities or musicians or athletes, and get great advice, and it's like, so that's why I just try and get out to my audience is just positive stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's like motivational things. I try and, just make people like think of positive stuff, especially in this time now of,
it's crazy
that's going on. It's like, if you look at the algorithms, people are now looking at more happy stuff than negative drama stuff. People are getting tired of that, kind of energy, I think,
I think so. Well, I don't think you're wrong. Like a lot of people, it was, if anything, it was a good eye opener for people to just focus on the positives. Like I think a lot of people realized how little they can control in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control the pandemic, you can't control what other people say, but I can control who I follow. I think a lot of people miss that. Like, they forgot that they could control who they follow on Facebook.
For real. Know what I'm saying? Yeah, like this COVID time, I think, is hopefully giving people that time to kind of like reinvest into themselves and be happy, because a lot of people are like, I didn't have time to do this, I didn't have time to do that. Well, you just had almost a year. So if you're a musician, I hope you banged out an album or two. If you're an artist, I hope, a painter or something, I hope you painted a whole bunch of canvases. I hope you took this time to do something, just sit around Netflix and chill and bitch about what's going on.
Seriously.
You just gotta make the best of it and keep grinding. Like, some of the greatest companies came out of Great Depressions.
Yeah.
You know, you can't stop, you know, and it's like, and then there's a lot of people in our field or other people's fields that are giving up on their dreams.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
it's just making it that much more wide open for us and what we're doing. You know, so it's just like you just got to keep grinding and just see where it takes you. You know, you can't stop, you know.
Do you ever say no to a networking opportunity?
Never. And that's what I love about Utah. Getting back to that one question earlier, it's like Utah is such a plethora of events that was always something going on almost every day before COVID.
Yeah, and for real.
And like now, even during COVID, there's some stuff here and there. Like there was just a Power Ranger meet and greet that was at a toy store. You know what I'm saying? And I went to a music festival that was 2 days long in the desert out in Skull Valley, Incandescence, and they had I think like 5 stages and all kinds of different genres of music, and was still able to put that on. And so there's stuff that's still going on out here, meeting the guidelines and everything, everyone social distancing and mask and everything like that, and checking in after the event. After that music event, no one had gotten COVID from that event. So it just shows that, you know, things can happen if it's done correctly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it gives me hope for the future. I'm like, I'm praying 2021, I don't think we'll ever get back to normal, but I hope we get back to business, you know, and get back to
that, man.
You know?
Back to business, bro. That's so true. That's so true. I hope we get back to business, man, because networking is probably the biggest thing. And I didn't know it was going to take this turn in this episode right now, but I think seeing what you've done and seeing what you brought, and like to show people like how networking really is available. How do you go and find all these events that you network at?
Usually just like through Facebook or Instagram, or my friends hit me up, like Kanye West. My friend hit me up 24 hours and he was like, hey, did you know Kanye's going to be here tomorrow? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, I know you could go get him. You know?
That's right.
And I was like, good looking, bro. And so like I pulled up the next day and security was tight. And I thought that I might even have a problem getting past it, you know, but I was like, I went past it, you know, I showed them my press stuff and they didn't even, you know, push me too hard, you know. I mean, I was, you know, had legit, you know, credentials, but, you know, I thought they would maybe, you know, looked into a little bit more, but they were like, yeah, Kanye's over there. And then I was in the general area, and then come to find out, one of my good friends, Sean Reyes, was there, and I was like, hey, you know, could I hang out with you? And he was like, yeah. And so like I was literally like 2 people away from Kanye the whole time. And
was that when he did his Sunday service?
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
For real.
That's
it was
sweet,
it was one of the most religious experiences I had in my life, because literally like 7,000 to 10,000 people from around the world pulled up with a 24-hour notice. That was bigger than any event that I've been to.
You know what's crazy is I remember that happening, and I remember getting an invite. I had to work at the time. I had to work, but that was nuts. I was like, how long have we known Kanye was going to be here? They were like, no one knew. Like,
for real.
Like he would just show, like he pulled in, posted on his, or whatever. I think he posted somewhere, and then it was like, I'm here.
For real.
I'll be doing something tomorrow. And I was like, that's and the turnout was insane.
For real. There was people everywhere in a 360 area, because it was at the Gateway.
Yeah.
And where he was standing, I mean, he looked nervous, and I was nervous. I mean, I mean, he was exposed. I mean, thankfully, you know, nothing bad happened, but he was surrounded by 7,000 to 10,000 people, and we're talking on the roofs of all the buildings.
I mean,
covered
it was nuts,
by people.
Man. I
there
saw
was
pictures from
3 helicopters going.
Well, I remember seeing videos and social media posts from that, and it was nuts. But good for Kanye. I like those Sunday services, man.
Yeah,
I think
when he's saying Jesus walks, it felt like Jesus was walking, because the concrete was shaking under our feet, and I was just like, wow.
That's crazy. But good for him, dude. I love Kanye.
For real.
Everything about Kanye. I love Kanye.
For real. I like him too. A lot of people, you know, talk about him, but I'm like, man, he's talked about a lot of things I think he's risked his career and life on that.
Well, you know what's fun? You know what's fun about Kanye is, dude, and we're just us two talking, but I love Kanye because his whole personality, like when you actually, if you've ever heard him talk in like interviews for real, like outside of the rap career, outside of, you know, anything, when he goes in an interview or he does a podcast, like he's very smart.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy, crazy smart. And he's got so many good ideas and so many good things. And he's just bouncing around. I mean, he's the epitome of an entrepreneur. You
For
know what
real.
I mean? He's like the dude who's got a million ideas, and then he goes and makes them happen.
Yeah.
You know, crazy.
For real.
It's
And
nuts.
I love what he's telling people about, they need to own their masters and,
Yeah. Yeah. He's
start
talking about
thinking
those
ahead of time before you go signing,
Dude, seriously though, I think that's hard for a lot of young artists. They don't know, and they get wrapped up in these contracts that are like, you're screwed in these contracts, man. Like,
For real.
The artist is done if you and that's a big problem in the recording and especially in the rap industry, because you get a lot of these young guys who are extremely talented, who've got a lot to offer the world, and then some production company or some signing company just takes everything. It's so sad, dude.
For real. That's why with what we're doing with our production company, we're like, we don't tell people what to wear, what to say, when to post, how to post.
Yeah.
We just try and help use our platform to elevate them in front of our audience so they can just use their God-given gifts, you know what I'm saying, and just be them, you know what I'm saying, and not be like, no, you got to do this and do that,
That's crazy.
No, like,
man.
people are tired of that,
I think people are finally waking up. I think you know who Russ is, the rapper Russ. He's a big one who like is owning his own company, but big rapper. But a lot of people don't know who he is because he's not part of a label. He just started his own, and he was just like, I'm doing my own thing. And teaches younger rappers. He's like, don't do that.
For real.
You know what I mean? Don't do that.
For real.
That's crazy, man. So why you started your production company, and it's a lot of artists and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then it's, is it a lot of you said journalism, you said like press, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
What else does that entail?
So basically we just kind of cover a lot of events, major ones like Sundance, FanX, FearCon.
Cool.
I've actually been blessed to be social media ambassadors for FanX and FearCon, which I took as a great big deal and responsibility.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's amazing to be associated with them and their trademark and their copyright, and being able to be associated with that and be like, hey, use my promo code and you get 15% off.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I just we've worked with a lot of not just musicians, but charity organizations, helping them build their Instagram, their Facebook, their groups, their LinkedIn, their Snapchats, boosting their audience, their likes, their views,
Cool.
And so we've done music stuff, we've done charity stuff, and just pretty much anything and everything. I mean, we don't just do celebrities, we cover like Silicon Slopes with entrepreneurs and CEOs. We cover sports events, we cover music events, we cover a little bit of anything and everything. We don't really just stick to music or just entertainment or just technology.
You just dabble.
It's just a little bit of everything, anything that's interesting, you know.
How was going to FanX?
Oh man, I love it.
And that used to be Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
But then they had to change the name and everything, right?
Yeah. For real.
Dang, man.
Which was
messed up.
For real.
Good for them, though. Because they're still killing it.
For real, still killing it, even with the name change. And it's like, and it's not really about the name. It's about the atmosphere that you create, and making people want to come back. If you have the greatest people there, but you don't treat people like people, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to want to come back and keep experiencing that and the different things they do. And they don't just incorporate movie stars and TV stars, but they start doing musicians. Like I got to meet Alice Cooper, which was like a dream come true there.
Wow, dude.
Where else can you go and meet all these cool different people, and it's like I love what Dan Farr's done and why he does it and everything. I've been blessed to interview him a couple of times. He's the producer of it, and it's just,
cool.
It's amazing. Like that's another way that I've been able to network and interview celebrities and musicians. I'm part of a anti-bullying movement where I get celebrities and musicians and athletes to give an anti-bullying message. And so I've been doing that a lot through FanX and FearCon, and I greatly appreciate everyone participating in that. You know, it's like,
because that's a big deal.
For real.
Dude, the bullying thing is tough, especially during like COVID. I mean, even before, but you know, especially now, dude, it's so crazy.
For real. It's just like to not be around your friends, and now like people aren't able to have AA meetings, and
that's tough,
you know, and
dude.
all this stuff, you know. It's just like a lot of I was out visiting my parents in Florida, and here comes marching by some veterans, and I talked to their media relations person, and they have a group where they get a bunch of them together, like if they're feeling suicidal, because I think it's every hour 22 soldiers kill themselves. And so they created this group. So if they're like, hey, I'm feeling lonely, let's all go out to a movie, or let's go to the bar, or let's go, you know, do this, then like they go, and 20 or 30 of them, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
and they, you know, hang out, you know, and so no one's alone. And it's like, we need more groups like that. We need more things like that. Cause it's like, you know, it's like now more than ever, it's tougher with the bullying and the, you know, everything, you know, suicide and
no
depression,
kidding,
anxiety, you know, domestic violence is up because people are more cooped in, you know. It's just, you know, we all need to just be there for each other now more than ever. You know?
Exactly. Well, and I think you're totally right, man. And it's so crazy, and especially kids, dude, when you're going through a weird time, and especially on social media. You know, it like you said, I didn't even realize. I mean, I had an idea, but I didn't even think about not having AA meetings or any of these, you know, sobriety meetings.
For real.
That would be tough, dude. And now you got to retreat on social media, and people on social media, you know, they don't have to use their real names or anything. And so really the only time like I love social media because it's a tool for me. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people put their fake names, and the only time they ever say anything is on Facebook, and it's always bad, or you know what I mean? It's crazy, dude.
For real.
I miss the groups. I love that like 20 or 30 of them get together and just go do something, because there's power in numbers, man. There's really safe in numbers. Yeah,
that's like at that last music festival I was at Incandescent. It was so amazing because the musicians and the DJs were so happy to just be there to play their music. And a lot of them had fans that literally drove states away just to come and be there, and everyone was just so happy just to be there, and it was great to be around like-minded people and to see people that you don't see but at that concert every year, you know. And it's like you're reunited with those people, and like with FanX, you know, you have your FanX fam that you only see that, you know, once. FanX usually was twice a year, and then I think this year is going to be once a year, but you know what I'm saying, these events are only once or twice a year that you build that little family, and you only see them during that time. So it's like it's good to, you know, it was so good to hug people and smell people and talk to people, and you know, just
be around
and I think that's connection. What COVID has hopefully woken people's eyes up to, that life isn't about, you know, materialistic things are great and all this stuff, but it's like it's more about that human interaction and going out with family and friends and barbecuing and going to the movies and being with each other than all this rat race stuff that we get caught up in, you know.
Man. How do you stay out of the rat race?
I try to stay as focused as possible, you know. I mean, there's a lot of distractions out there, whether it's drugs, alcohol, the news.
That's bad, dude. You know? People are addicted to news, bro. It's kind of scary, dude. They'll like feed whatever they, you know what I mean? And it's always so crazy. I made a post one time about like the news, because everybody was freaking out. Like the news, it felt like for like 2 or 3 months, like the only thing you would see on the news was just how horrible things were. You know what I mean? And one time I wrote it, I was like, guys, you got to remember, like, this consumerism trap that you're in, the same people who gave you the anti-venom led you to the snake. You know what I mean? I'm like, like the news and these things aren't going to save you, you know,
for real,
as much as you think they are. You know what I'm saying?
For real. It's crazy, and then when you look into it to see how many major news corporations have actually been caught lying, and it is fake news, and they're still in business. It's like, it's crazy, dude.
The joke used to be that it was either a weatherman or an actuary were the only jobs you could make over $100,000 and lie every day, or at least be wrong every day.
Yeah.
And now I feel like you could be in the news and do that, dude. It's crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't get that.
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. So how long have you've been doing your production company for 13 years? Your restaurant for 5 or 6, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Appreciate
and you've been able
it.
to keep it going through COVID with all the.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Did you have to shut down a little bit the restaurant?
Yeah, so we couldn't have as many seated people as before, and we were worried, that COVID was going to shut us down. The government, the state, the city.
Yeah.
And thankfully, we were able to stay open, and we just couldn't have, at one point we couldn't have anyone in there. So we had the Uber Eats and the DoorDash, and then we would bring it out ourselves, and then. But then as we were able to open up and let people in, then we could, let people come in and look at the menu and stand in line. And it was funny because Fox News, we were on Fox News a few years ago. Big Buddha came in and featured us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I love Big Buddha.
For real. And then I was like, hey, can we talk about my cleaning company? And it was like, tomorrow on my other show, Hired or Fired. So it was crazy to get all my stuff ready. It'd be like, can you get it all done by tomorrow morning at 6 a.m? And I was like, never say no to an opportunity,
That's right,
yes,
dude,
and figure it out later. Don't be scared,
because I love that.
Because there was, if I would have been scared, there'd been no way. But I was like, I got to make this happen, and I made it happen. Both of our businesses were on Fox News 2 days in a row, 2 different shows for free.
No kidding,
you can't even pay for that kind of advertisement. And then during COVID, they just saw that we were one of the businesses that were still open, and so they were doing a special on businesses that were open during COVID and what they've had to go through to readjust and things like that. And so we got to be on there again, and
That's
Big
cool,
Buddha
man.
was supposed to be there again, but he didn't have COVID, but he was I think a little under the weather.
Just playing it safe.
So someone else came in, and it was like, man, and that helped a lot during COVID, because a lot of people saw that, because they ended up playing it right after the governor had a speech about COVID, and then they show a business that's open during COVID, and then they played it a couple more times over the weekend, and they said that they're going to play it kind of throughout the rest of the summer, which was probably 2 months ago. So I mean, people came in and said, yeah, we saw you on Fox, and everything. So
That's
it's just
crazy.
That's why I tell people, I'm like, find what you love in life and then work towards it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to work your day job, but when you come home, I would work my day job, and then I would work 12 hours overtime, and then 16 hours overtime. And then I started seeing less money, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I realized the more overtime I work, the less money I make at a certain point, because then they start taxing you even more. And I'm like, it's not worth it for me to be here over these so many hours. I think it was not worth it to be over there more than 12 or 15 hours or something, because then you're literally paying the government $30 an hour, so you make $20 an hour. And I'm like, no, I gotta figure out my time better. So I was like, let me go back into business for myself, like my parents did. And then I would come home and I'd work towards my goal, an hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. And then I was finally able to get my cleaning company going, and I could fire my boss and, you know what I'm saying, live my dream, and then go from there, and then I went a totally different way from the cleaning thing, and into, entertainment, and it's it's just been an amazing journey, and it's just that's why I tell people, try and find what you love and then do it, a little bit. It might take a couple years, but eventually you can fire your boss and work for what you do full time, what you love. And then when you wake up, it's so much better, because when you wake up and you work for someone else, you're like, oh my God, this next 8 to 9 hours, boom, boom, boom. But when you wake up working for yourself, you're like, man, I need more than 24 hours. I don't want to sleep, you know?
Man. Yeah, dude. And you know what I liked about your story right there is something a lot of people miss again, and that's why I love having business owners on the podcast, entrepreneurs on the podcast, because people you can branch off onto one thing, and that doesn't have to be your forever thing. It's just got to be enough to get you to fire your own boss, like your cleaning company, right?
Yeah.
Do you still own that?
I don't, funny enough, because during Christmas, 2-3 years in, I lost 2 accounts, not to my own fault. One just couldn't afford it anymore, and then one went with a cheaper company. And I was like, well, could I bid? And they're like, no, we already went with the other people. And I'm like, wow. Like, a lot of people at work there was like, sorry, bro. Like,
Yeah, that's
that was
tough,
kind of
dude.
cold. You know what I'm saying? And I worked there 7 days a week.
Wow.
For years, like 7 days a week.
And you just chopped your head off like that, right? Dude?
Yeah, and it was just like, wow. And then I went back and I had to work for someone else. And as much as I hated it, I got it to where now I'm working for myself again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's
that's
like,
cool, man.
you know, you just gotta bounce back and figure it out and don't stop, don't quit. And it's like, now it's like I'm at the point where I'm pretty sure I'm never going back. And if I have to, then I will. I gotta do what I gotta do to live my dream. I don't want to just sit back and wish and hope and
work to live, not live to work.
Yeah, and then 30 years later, you're like, man, I didn't accomplish anything. I just saw all this stuff on TV. Like, all this stuff I see on TV, I want to actually go there and visit and eat and taste and drink and smell and experience for myself. And the only way is going to be hard work. And if you do it yourself, then you own it. No one can take it from you. You know what I'm saying? Like earlier we were saying, if you're into music, you know, eventually make your own production company, work with some people and figure stuff out. But a lot of people, they sign to a major label and they're like, man, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I would have just did my own thing. Might take another 5 or 10 years. But then you get you get 100% of the album that you sell instead of like 5 cents or whatever,
$1 or whatever.
Yeah, you know, you get the whole dollar instead of like 5 cents, and then you own your masters, you know, and then you can do what you want. You know what I'm saying? If your mom died tonight and they're like, hey, you gotta get on a plane and perform tomorrow, we don't care.
Yeah,
you know
seriously. Yeah, you're like,
you know,
nope, not doing that. Yeah, if you work for, I really love that, dude, because a lot of people can work for themselves. It's really not that complicated sometimes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You work your day job and then you grind at night on what you love, and people aren't patient enough. Like since we've been talking, it seems like you've been really patient.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
You know what I mean? Come to let it come together.
Yeah,
right?
For real. Like, patience is key, and it's just the main thing that I try and tell people. It's like, it's just taking one step at a time. It's just getting something a little bit done each day, so at the end of the month you're that much closer. But if you're only working on your dream once a week, you know, then at the end of the month, you know, it's just going to take you that much longer. It's just persistence is key. It's just like, a great analogy is just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym every day, you're going to see results. And it's the same thing with your business. If you put your heart and your effort and your time and your money and you reinvest into yourself, it might take a little bit of time, but you're going to see and feel a difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just, it just takes, you know, just that effort and just that time, and just, you know, putting everything you believe in, because a lot of people aren't going to believe in you. You got to believe in yourself. Even your family and your friends are like, oh, you're crazy. Why would you leave this good paying job? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, seriously.
And it's like, because I want to do what I love. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people make a lot less money, but they're happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
And then, like, what's better quality of life? You know what I'm saying? And as long as you can still pay your bills and feed your wife and kids, and you know, it's like, then, you know, who needs, you know, millions of dollars to be happy? You know what I'm saying? If you do, then good for you. You know, if you need millions of dollars and you can go get that much, you know, but it's like, you know, I just need enough to take care of my family and myself, and just live a good, clean, happy life. And I think travel is the best thing, because you get to meet different cultures and different music, different food, different fashion, you know, and just all that. So,
well, I like what you said there. You know, I mean, because a good question from that you know, that I'll ask people is, it's just what we were talking about. Like, how much is happiness worth to you? You know, is it worth, you know, and how much does it cost for you? You know, because if you can be happy for a little bit, then, you know, if you can be happy, then be happy. I think that's the most important thing for people to understand.
For real,
you know, how much does happiness cost for you? Yeah,
because they get lost in the hype and like think, you know, if you're a rapper, you think you need all this jewelry and stuff, and then you get all the jewelry, and then you realize you gotta keep it clean.
Yeah.
And you gotta make sure someone doesn't jack you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what, you know what? That's so true, man. I sold cars for a really long time, and people would buy really nice cars. And they wouldn't know. I mean, they didn't realize how expensive they were. I think the best story I ever had was this kid. I mean, because we could make a lot of money in car sales. You could make a lot of money really quick, especially if you were charismatic, you're good at talking to people. And if you could treat someone nice and just help them buy a car, like, you could make a lot of money. And this kid did that. I mean, he was a perfect salesman, you know. But he thought he was a baller, went out and bought like a really expensive Benz.
Yeah.
And he came back, and all of us older guys, like there's a reason. If you ever run through a car dealership, there's a reason the GMs don't have nice cars, or they drive a dealership car.
Yeah.
And the reason is because they know how much it costs to actually own a car. You know what I'm saying?
And how it depreciates in value.
Yeah, dude. And so he buys this Benz, and all of us older guys, I drive a decent car, one that I don't have to pay bucos to keep up. And we were just asking him questions like, hey, did you get the tire and wheel package? Do you have enough money to replace that wheel if it breaks? How about the oil changes? He was like, what are you talking about? Like, he had no clue that a rim and tire on that Benz was $2,000 each,
For real.
You're 4 or 5 G's into just the wheels and tires.
And now you got to have an auto mechanic that's certified in Benzes to work on it.
Yeah, you can't take it to your buddy down the street, dude. Because he can't, they have, Benz especially has proprietary, equipment that only they can use to fix your Benz, dude. It's crazy.
For real.
But hey, dude, if you want a Benz, go get a Benz, homie. Just know what it takes, you know what I'm saying?
For real.
People don't get that. Yeah, dude. That is crazy, bro. That's such a good point. Because people just think, you get it, and once you get, having nice things isn't like what you see on TV, bro. It's a lot of work to have nice things.
For real.
Jeez, man.
For real. And that's why it's I don't understand why people do that. While they're building up their career, it's you really shouldn't do that until your career is solid. You need to be investing into your equipment and things that can better your craft before you go buying a car. You know what I'm saying? What do you need? A Lambo. You know what I'm saying? You need skills. Before you need all that stuff. When you can afford it, then that's when you can enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got everything worked back and you reap what you sow. But people get caught up and get sometimes too early and play themselves.
Dude, that's so true. But we were talking. So you were talking about traveling. You travel a lot. Your wife traveled a lot.
Heck yeah.
You've been able to travel a lot?
Heck yeah.
Right on, dude. Where's the best place you went?
Yeah, my mom worked on a cruise ship as a singer. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
For real.
Wow, dude.
And I don't know why I didn't follow suit. She was like, you should be a bartender or a comedian or something, because I get on stage and tell jokes sometimes and stuff. But I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, we were on 11 different ships, and I was on, I think, a couple of them a couple times. So one of them I was on 4 times, so I knew where everything was on the ship. So dude, that I recommend, if you go on a cruise, go for at least a week or 2, because if you go on a 3-day or 5-day cruise, as soon as you start knowing where the things are, you gotta get off.
Yeah, and
you're like, oh no. So
that's nuts, man. Where's the best place you've been?
The Caribbean, I would say, is probably my favorite.
Well, I can tell from the name of your you're the name of your company.
Yeah, I love the Caribbean metal drums and just the lifestyle. It's got the mountains, it's got the ocean, it's got the food. I love seafood. Man. I just love that way of life. The clothes, the music, the cars.
What part of the Caribbean do you normally go to?
So usually Nassau or St. Thomas. I went through pretty much both sides, the east and west. There's Jamaica on one side, and then you have a whole plethora of different beautiful places that are on it. So if you go on a cruise, hopefully you can try and go on both sides, and see it all. But
that's cool.
But
man.
yeah, I love it out there, and that's why I love Florida. Daytona Beach, it kind of reminds me of that. But I love just soaking in the sun and the country, atmosphere. People are so nice and welcoming, and it's just a beautiful culture.
That's cool, dude. Well, I want to go back to one thing that you said earlier, the questions that you'd ask these big people. What was an experience you had where you asked a question to, a famous person or whatever, and got some really cool insight?
Heck yeah. Let's see. Probably the best one. Got me on that one. Well, I'm trying to think.
Yeah, man.
Exactly who it was and what they said, because
or just a really cool experience that you had with them.
I would say one of my coolest experiences is like with Kasky from Cash Money Records. Like,
oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, he's a.
Oh yeah, you put it right over here, right?
Yeah, yeah. When this is me on the cover with him, and then I got this is Extract. So he usually puts on his shows out here when he comes to Utah. He has a clothing line.
That's cool, man.
I got to write an article and about my experience with Kasky, and like he's just such a dope dude. Like he's not just a rapper. Like he does metal music. He's has poetry books. He does paintings.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's like
I mean, like a real artist.
Yeah, a real artist.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
And like he spits bars, like stuff with knowledge. Like he that's how he came up, you know, like talking about real stuff. And he did like, you know, some commercial songs here and there to get that crowd to come and see, you know, the real stuff, you know. So it's like,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I love him. And like he treats everyone, you know, like like family. Like every show he comes to, he always meets with everyone after the show and takes pictures with them for free.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
Gives
man.
everyone a great experience, you know. So it's like, and that's I admire him a lot, because like that's how I feel like I'm an artist. I don't just do one thing. Like I love painting. I love editing these videos and recording them and using filters and creating content for social media and making sure I use the right hashtags and try and do it during the right day and the right time to get, you know, the highest amount of views in front of the right audience, and you know, everything that goes into it. So it's just like I love his craft. He started doing his own clothing line, which is something I want to do in the future. You know,
that's
it's just
cool,
like,
man.
it's just like, you know, and that's what I love about any kind of artist is I just love, you know, seeing them progress and being themselves and using their God-given talent, and just, you know, tell people don't give up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, things are going to get back to business, and, you know, events are, I mean, just imagine when events can start going on again, how many people are going to be there, and you just got to make sure it's responsible. But you know, it's like, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to, you know, be around people again and be at raves and be at lectures and be at, you know, just anything, you know, sporting
raves
events
and lectures. That's what I'm talking about,
for
bro.
real.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
For real.
That's super cool, dude. So where do people go to find you, you know, to help support your businesses and to get involved?
Heck yeah. So if they want to follow me on Instagram, it's Chris_Newhart_ aka _Superman. I think I got like 42,000 followers so far.
Cool.
And then we got GME_Productions. Then we got Irie's Place on Instagram. Then we got Irie's Place and GME Productions on Facebook. We got a group, so if you want to join it and see upcoming events, how they could help be a part of the street team. You know, with me doing press, you know, I need help from photographers and videographers. Sometimes, you know, we're building up our own team, but we like to work with other people and, you know, collab and promote each other, cross promote and everything. Man. So it's like,
cool.
Yeah, if you know, guys follow us, you know, we got, you know, we just covered like the United Nations and Jackie Chan and Sundance and all these big things. So it's like I need a team of people. The bigger the better.
Yeah, man.
You know,
you need people.
So you know, if you guys want to come to our charity events at Irie's Place, like I said, we're doing that trunk or treat for Halloween, and then we're doing Toys for Tots for the next 2 months. You know, so
that's sick, man.
Heck
Holy crap, dude. Well, thank you so much for being here.
For real, I greatly appreciate you having me. This has been a beautiful experience.
It really has, man. I'm always so surprised at the people that I meet. And I've talked about this before, but, you know, never judge somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know the wisdom and the love that you're going to get, like we felt here, dude. You know what I'm saying? I love it, man. I never say no to a podcast guest, because I'm like, you never know who you're going to meet, dude.
For real.
It's freaking awesome.
For
real.
I
freaking love it.
And you never know what could come out of their mouth that could be exclusive, you know. It's like, you know, that first time on your show, you know.
Dude, that's sweet. Well, we'll definitely have to do this again, but thanks for coming, man.
For real.